What's going on, Washington Commanders Nation? It's your boy Rio Robinson back with the latest and greatest on the Rambling with Rio YouTube channel, where we ramble about the Washington Commanders. Today is Tuesday, August 29th. We are now 12 days away from Jacoby Brissett, days away from the regular season opener versus the Arizona Cardinals. And today was the day. The day we got down to 53 man. It was final cuts. It's a sad day for a lot of guys, but it's the nature of the beast and business of the NFL. We got down to 53 guys on our roster. A couple surprises, but for the most part, we knew exactly how this was going to take place. We're looking at the roster here. The positions that we were really looking at was wide receiver and offensive line. They decided to go with 7 instead of 6. The guy everybody is meh about, but we all knew was a lock, Dax Milne. He's managed to make another roster. I keep telling you, it's a staple of the show. As long as Ron Rivera's here, he's going to keep him a Dax Milne, a David Mayo, or a Troy Apke on the roster. The only reason Troy Apke is not on this roster is because he's on the injury reserve. He's hurt right now, because if that was not the case, Troy Apke would very well be a part of this 53-man roster. Biggest surprise, well, not necessarily surprise, but biggest obstacles to overcome. Shout out to 86, Mitchell Tinsley out of Penn State. Undrafted free agent, comes on the scene, shines at the Shrine Bowl, shines during the draft process, doesn't get drafted, comes in fair and square, wins a job on the final 53-man roster, made himself indispensable. Savvy, nuanced route runner, details and depth of his routes, sure-handed, unlike Kazmir Allen. And his final outing on the team against the Cincinnati Bengals, he went berserk. 3 catches, 90 yards. Could have had 3 touchdowns. Every one of them catches could have been a touchdown. And they took one back from him. I think that second one was definitely a touchdown. They called him short at the half-yard line, and Fromm ended up throwing a touchdown to somebody else. But shout out to Mitchell Tinsley. Wide receiver room, we already know about the top 4 guys. Jahan Dotson, dog. Dyami Brown, we will see, but he got his college quarterback. He may be on the come up. It may be time for the breakout. Curtis Samuel, Kurt Coe, offense's best chess piece. The Swiss Army knife, wide receiver, outside, in the slot, in the backfield, wildcat quarterback, all that shit with Curtis Samuel. Terry McLaurin, superstar. We already know the vibes. Top 10 wide receiver in the league. Byron Pringle adds speed to the room, has the return element and the speed to do the return thing, has housed the kick before, and he played in Eric Bieniemy's offense, so he speaks the language of the system. Eric Bieniemy was able to keep one of his guys. We did not end up keeping Marcus Kemp. About the guys we didn't keep, Kazmir Allen. They gave him every opportunity to make this team. Every opportunity. They badly wanted him to be another Curtis Samuel light. And they want him to be a returner. But he can't catch. He can't catch a cold. He literally let this opportunity slip out of his grasp because he wants to muff punts and drop passes in practice and in games. Maybe he gets back on the practice squad. And speaking of the practice squad, Washington fans, we do this every year. It's a year annual tradition where we, oh my God, this guy didn't make the team. There's no way he clears waivers. They always clear waivers, bro. Listen to me. Look at me. They always clear waivers, bro. I can't remember the last player that we waived on the initial 53-man roster that did not make it through waiver, that was poached off of waivers, that was that hot of a commodity. And this year's guy that fans appear to think is the case is Jake Fromm. Jake Fromm had a good preseason, and that speaks to what Eric Bieniemy and his offense was able to develop out of Jake Fromm. We really about to sit here and throw hissy fits and tantrums over Jake Fromm State Farm? That's what we're doing? That's what we're doing, guys? I'm glad he had a good preseason. And yes, he did look better than Brissett for the most part against threes, but we really think Jake Fromm's the backup quarterback for this team? Nah, I don't think so. And we need to relax. We need to relax, guys. I've seen us do it too many times. I've seen people do it over Jimmy Moreland. I've seen people do it over Steven Sims Jr., who was just cut from his 3rd or 4th NFL team today. Kelvin Harmon. Oh, my God, what are we going to do? Kelvin Harmon plays for the DC Defenders now. Guys, Other than the schedule release day, cut down day is the most overreaction day in the NFL. Relax. It's going to be all right. But let's talk about a couple things on this roster that are head scratching in a way. Let's talk about Mason Brooks not making the offensive line. The 10 guys we kept on the line: Stromberg, Gates, Wiley, Leno, Trent Scott. That was my surprise. Chris Paul, Sam Cosmi, Sadiq Charles, and Cornelius Lucas. And shout out to my guy, Mason Kinahan, keeping up with the Commander. He said, watch Trent Scott make it over Mason Brooks. He was dead accurate on that one. Called it. I definitely didn't see Larson getting cut. They're going to probably bring him back in some way, but Larson not making the team goes to show how much confidence they have in Ricky Stromberg and his position flexibility, because I definitely thought they were going to keep 3 centers. Trent Scott making a late push to make the team was definitely something that surprised me. We thought all that we heard on Mason Brooks, they'll probably put him on the practice squad because Ron seemed to let the cat out of the bag that was the plan, that they wanted to try to hide him to stash him on the practice squad. But for now, I'm guessing Sadiq Charles is going to be the starter at left guard. The little bit we did see of him, he's knocking dudes in the dirt. He's looking like a force. But how long are them calves going to hold up? Depth of this line will tell us how this season's going to go, because we need these guys to build some continuity and stay on the field together. Mason Brooks not making it definitely caught me by surprise. Keeping 7 edge rushers, defensive ends, that one took me a little bit by surprise, but the only reason I think they keep 7 is because KJ Henry was traded up for and drafted in the 5th round. Because if he wasn't drafted in the 5th round or traded up, I don't think he makes this roster. I think the rest of the guys making, I think KJ Henry's a practice squad candidate. But Ron can't have a draft where he's sending 2 guys to IR, or 1 guy to IR and 1 guy to the practice squad in the mid rounds, like they did with Braden Daniels, who was awful in the preseason. My boy Zach Burgundy Bones on Twitter said they put Braden Daniels on the injury report for a broken spirit because he got his ass mollywhopped versus the Ravens in joint practice. Nah, but all seriousness though, if you are hurt, get well and sharpen and refine those tools for next year, bro, because your rookie year, that shit looked all bad. It looked all bad. Shout out to Andre Jones Jr. Not only did he make this roster, I think he earned himself a spot in the rotation this year, especially considering the uncertainty around Chase Young right now. Chase Young has a, let's call it, quote unquote, with bunny ears, stinger that Ron doesn't want to talk about right now. And is his status for week 1 uncertain at this point? There's always uncertainty around Chase Young. So it's nice to see that we have a young guy with some bend and explosion coming off the edge. If they have to spell Chase Young, or if him or Sweat misses any time, knock on wood though, because we want those guys healthy, because I want to see Washington get the most out of these players that are trying to earn big contracts this year. Defensive tackle doesn't surprise me at all. Ridgeway, Allen, Payne, Fedarian. I don't know what the hell Fedarian Mathis is at this point. I just want to know if he can stay on a football field. And once he can stay on a football field, I need to know, can he be effective consistently in spell of Jonathan Allen, Daron Payne? Can he actually clog up? Can he actually be a force? Because we cannot hit on a 2nd round pick to save our goddamn lives. I need us to hit on one eventually. I need Sam Cosmi to break the mold of 2nd round picks so that Fedarian Mathis and Quan Martin can thrive. I need Sam Cosmi to walk so they can run. Because if not, I don't ever want to see us pick in the 2nd round again. If these 3 guys do not pan out to be guys for us, I don't want us picking in the 2nd round. Trade that shit every year for the next 10 years at this point. Linebacker position. Shout out to Ref the District. They had me do the linebacker position on their roster projection. I called it exactly how I see it. Khaleke Hudson and David Mayo backing up Jamin Davis and Cody Barton. And I'm praying someone breaks out in that room, because we're in year 3 of Jamin Davis. Hasn't broke out yet. Hasn't looked like a 1st round pick yet, but he has progressively played better. Khaleke Hudson made the roster this year and had a good summer and spring. We hope we can get a breakout out of him, because he's probably the most athletic guy in that room. And Cody Barton is tasked with being the mic, the heartbeat, green dot signal caller of the defense. Please come over here and give us 130, 140 tackles, because somebody's got to, right? The linebacker position, the one position that our head coach and defensive coordinator played that we cannot get a grasp on. If we can just get anything, even the smallest amount of adequacy out of the linebacker position, this defense is going to be ridiculous. Because look at the cornerback in the safety room. Forbes and Fuller on the outside, Juice in the slot, dogs. Don't want to see Christian Holmes out on no island with an NFL receiver. Christian Holmes, the thickest cornerback I've ever seen. I don't need to see him running hip to hip with any receiver that ran 4.5 or faster. Safety, Defoe and Curl. Breakout candidate Percy Butler. All-Pro Revo, the special teamer. And Quan Martin. Quan Martin's going to be that Swiss Army knife guy. They're not going to give him one set position. Just list him as a DB. Don't count him as a corner or a safety. He's going to be lined up all over the place. Hopefully, he builds some continuity with the ones, because it looked like a whole bunch of confusion for him in the preseason. But as the game slows down and as he gets out on the field with guys that are ingratiated with the defense, maybe it looks better during the regular season. But I have no doubts about our safety room. Cam Curl's about to earn his bag. He might get his bag before the season starts. Defoe is coming off a 4-pick season where he was the breakout star for Washington last year. Then I see the specialist, Tressway, Joey Sly, Cam Cheeseman. Cam Cheeseman, you are a long snapper. I do not want to have issues with a long snapper. We should never have to have discussions about long snappers. We should not know who you are. Please get it right. Stop trying new techniques. Get the ball to the damn punter and the kicker, and let's never have to talk about Cam Cheeseman again. Last thing on the roster, Mitchell Tinsley. Congratulations for making the team. Now get the hell out of that Walter Rasby nasty tight end number and get you number 3, 11, 18, 16, or something of the sort, because it's that 86 is ugly, my guy. In 2023, receivers don't wear 80s numbers no more, bro. Get you a low number and thrive. That's all I got on the roster. I just did a show. I wrapped it just now with Josh Taylor on this channel talking about the roster breakdown, and I'll be on Louis T's show in just a few minutes. Y'all can tap into that. Me, Louis, Ed, maybe Rico from Street Score. We're going to be talking all things 53-man roster for the Washington Commanders. Until next time, Commander Rio Robinson out.